So, hello. I'd like to welcome you to this online interview. Thank you for joining us, Josephina.
Thank you. Good
Would
morning.
it, thank you. Good morning. Would it be possible to tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, role, your expertise in these advanced technology that you have in the field, let's say?
Um, right. So I'm an associate professor in computing at UCLan Cyprus. I'm also the deputy head of the School of Science, and my research is, one of my main research interests right now is on ethics in AI. So I'm guessing that the advanced technology we'll be talking about is AI, right?
Correct. AI
Um,
and ethics, yeah.
AI and ethics. So this is my current main field of research and expertise. I participate as an evaluator for ethics in technology for the Cyprus National Bioethics Committee as well, and I have been also a member or chair of many ethics committees in projects and so on. My other role is in ACM, in the Association for Computing Machineries, an international organization. I chair the women's chapter in Cyprus, and I participate in women's committees for the European ACM chapter, let's say, where we look at gender roles and diversity and engagement, inclusion, and so on, these kind of values for the technology field.
Wow, very impressive. What would you say is the current state of the skills and knowledge in ATI among professionals in this field?
Mm, When we talk about ethics in computing or ethics in AI, more specifically, we have um, three different areas. The technology area, so we have the professionals that are skilled with technical skills. We have the data component, which requires analytical skills. And then we have the ethics component or um, the application component of this technology into society, which requires different kinds of skills, more soft skills. Um, and currently, I think that we don't have a complete map of skills across the different areas. So the people who develop the technology are not so skilled in softer skills, let's say, and people who are analyzing the data are usually um, more technical or more soft, but they don't include both. So they either come from more soft disciplines or more technical disciplines. And then, sorry for the term soft, more,
No, no,
let's say, more
no.
social or um,
You're actually
different kind.
responding to the next question as well, which was the biggest gap
Okay.
as well. So brilliant. Yeah.
So we have this lag because we the stakeholders for this technology require ethics to be there, and we have interdisciplinarity, and the different disciplines that are involved are not really um, experts in the other disciplines, or they are not able to communicate with stakeholders from other disciplines. So I think we need more adaptability between the different disciplines or the different types of stakeholders, um, better communication. So I think more teamwork or different types of learning. But okay, we can talk about this later. So these are my view is that we need to spread the skills across all disciplines that are involved.
Thank you. Um, so this is kind of very close to what you just mentioned, but could you share some examples of these technical skills that the professionals need but lack? So some of them, like you said, have the soft skills, some have some technicals.
Yeah.
Um, but in terms of the technical ones, what do they often lack in, especially with these new emerging technologies like AI and everything?
I think that if you're not a technician, so if you're not someone who develops or designs technology, and then probably someone who needs to just use technology or to operate it in some kind of environment, maybe in a business or in the government or in some kind of environment, you need to operate this technology. You don't really need to be um, knowledgeable in how to develop or design the technology, but you need to understand how the tools that have been developed work and what is behind them. So um, I think a better use of the tools is the skill that we need in technical terms. So no, you don't need to be a good programmer or a good designer, for example, but you need to understand how things work, where the information comes from, um, to be able to make decisions on whether something is true or not, or whether you can trust something. So better decision making based on some technical understanding, not really technical skills. Technical skills, in my view, are more practical. But if you're not from the discipline, you just need to understand how things work and where you can put your trust.
Mhm. Oh, what about the other skills you mentioned, like the analytical and the soft skills? What do you think are underdeveloped, let's say, in this sector and should be? Where is there
Right.
the area for improvement, let's say?
Um, Analytical skills for AI are in they come in two types. One is to be able to critically analyze something, which means if AI generates some kind of knowledge, to be able to analyze and critically to understand if this is true knowledge or if this is false, and where it's coming from. It's critical analysis that leads to decision making uh, for the analysis part, not the understanding part, the technical. But the analytical also comes for the data because a lot of these tools that are being used, they take as input a lot of data. Either the data is preset and it's known, and you can um, get the information about the data and decide whether this data is representative of what is needed to give you some right answers, or you don't know what kind of data it is, which is most of the times the case for people who are not in technology, so they don't know where the answers come from and how the AI tools magically give you these answers or create something. And we tend to believe that what is generated is true. But we have to understand that this data comes from everywhere, so it can be also false or um, so this type of analysis of the data is another skill. I think the analysis of the data is should be a requirement for the people who claim to have the technical skills. Sometimes they don't have the analytical skills because the reason is because education, the way the curriculums are designed right now is to just focus on one set of skills. So if someone takes a basic course in learning how to develop AI, they will not learn how to analyze the data for the AI. But this is also something that is very important. But if you're someone who is not technical, then you should be able to do the critical analysis part of the analytical skills to be able to make a decision on how to use the AI, even if you don't understand the technical part. So the analytical can be separated from the technical part.
Also the
This
soft
is for the
skill.
analytical part.
Yeah. Also the soft skills that were also mentioned that are like cited but underdeveloped, let's say, in this sector. Which could you
Yes.
pinpoint like
Um, some of what I said, for example, decision making, sometimes
Mm,
is also considered a soft
that's
skill,
correct, yeah.
but we can use it from a technical or analytical perspective as well. When I said soft skills, I mean the the teamwork, to be able to communicate across disciplines, because we have, I think, in my view, we have three different types of stakeholders when it comes to these technologies that we have to consider different ethical values for. We have the designers, they make some initial um, decisions and they have the view of the society that will use this. So they kind of understand the technology, not really, and kind of understand the data, but not really, but they can better understand the society and design for it. Then we have the developers who usually don't, they have to take the recipe given by the designers and develop it. Sometimes this is not a perfect match, so they usually don't understand uh, design or use. They just focus on the creation, the development, and then we have the users, and the users, you know, they just want to use. They want the easiest, more comfortable use, something which is impressive and um, you know,
Easy solution, yeah.
yes, the solution to their problem basically, and if it's a good solution or not. And sometimes the experience stuff, they take precedence. For example, if the interface is more engaging or faster things that are happening, I'm asking something and there is an answer. I don't really care about everything else because the experience is good, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so, so we have these three types of stakeholders, and they should be able to at some point communicate. Maybe when the technology is presented to the users, the user should be able to understand more basically what it does, or the design if the designers have specific requirements that are, for example, to be gender inclusive, then the developers should actually know what this is, because some of the decisions that the developers make might hinder gender inclusivity, and then the users will not know it, and they will feel um, the bias will kind of trickle down into society then. So there are a lot of things that need to be considered, and so I think a soft skill that is important is communication, teamwork between these types of stakeholders.
Mm. Totally. Yeah, I totally agree with you. So I'd just like to shift a little bit the topic to these emerging trends and future needs, if we can like not guess, but what skills do you think are going to become more important in the near future due to due to the emerging trends of ATIs?
Uh, Separately from what we just said, because
You think those could probably most likely be involved, like
yes,
the current
unless we are
ones?
talking about how to use the technology,
Mm-hmm.
so we have to you have to consider the users as, not all of us are the same.
Yeah.
We come from different generations, we have different experiences, we have different expectations. So um, I think maybe we need to be more adaptable, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe there should be a way to allow the users to adapt easily to new technologies so that they don't feel estranged from these technologies, especially if they are not used to these technologies. For example, older generations have a very hard time using technologies that are designed and developed by younger generations. And maybe they could use these kinds of technologies to make their lives better, to help them with tools for their everyday needs. Sometimes the needs that people in older generations they're more, and they could be addressed better, but then they don't want to use these kinds of technology because they feel a gap. So maybe how can we approach this? So if we are users, maybe we can be more adaptable, but if we are designers or developers, as we move into the future, we need to be more inclusive. So the ethical values always play a role in moving forward if you can consider this a soft skill. So to be able to better understand everyone and support everyone.
How do you see the role of certification and compliance evolving in this field? For example, in this project, we're looking into the certification of with through micro credentials. Um, how would
Yeah.
you see this being?
I think it's very important to certify, but it's also very dangerous. It's very important because if there is a certification, it's more convincing. So if you have a certification or if you need a certification, then it's more convincing that, someone checked this and there is a standard and, there is a level up to which you need to be able to design or develop or use technology, especially to use technology. So the user feels more comfortable if they are certified in specific skills. So that's a good thing. But then, as these technologies develop, they are emerging technologies and they have immediate impact. We have to know that they're not complete. So we have to be very careful on what we consider to be a standard, to
Mhm.
maybe take a step back and consider all of these aspects, the different aspects that must be considered, and certify for um, I think the softer side of things is better than to certify for things that keep changing, for example, the type of technology and so on. So you need to leave room for improvement or change, as adaptability is one of the things that we want. But if you can certify, for example, for responsible responsibility. So if you can responsibly use technology, or this encompasses a lot of skills, the term responsibility. So you can learn to use it responsibly, and that leaves room for improvement. But at least you have a basic level of being careful between the different types of users.
Mhm. And just before we close, I'd like to hear some recommendations from you. So, what kind of strategies or solutions would you recommend to bridge the skills gaps and everything we mentioned previously?
Um, In in my research, I try to work through education. So we think that it's very important um, to adjust the educational curricula for including what is missing, so that we have in the different disciplines we include what is missing, so that people that are in these disciplines, for example, if you are a designer or a developer, you don't consider something very strange to talk about ethics, for example, or to understand that what you're doing impacts society because you had a chance to talk about this during your curriculum, which is not the case right now. So I think more emphasis in the other disciplines or the interdisciplinary nature of these technologies should come from the curricula while people are preparing for these technologies. And the studies that don't have any technology, so people don't feel that technology is something very strange, they
Mhm.
should have some kind of introduction to the responsible use of technology. So that could be good, I think.
Are there, based on this, any specific training programs or certifications or resources professionals should pursue in order to upskill themselves in these, if they wanted to pursue something in this direction?
Well, there may be different types of certifications that come, not certifications, but um, trainings or learnings that you can get from different projects, but we don't have anything which is standard. Legally speaking, at the European level, we just have some initial guidelines that are not for ethics in AI. So we have the guidelines, and based on this, we have a lot of programs and projects that are out there. Uh, I don't have a list right now, but I know that there are, even from my projects, we have some that are publicly available and companies can use them or schools, but not something that is standard for everybody. So I think it's good to have projects like yours try to create something more.
Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add about either the ATI skills or challenges or opportunities?
I don't know. I think we covered everything. Thank you very much.
We did. Thank you so much, Josephina.
Have a nice day.